today. I know that you read my email and you know we're going to be talking about this standard that I wrote on our chart paper. Jeanette, would you read it for us?
Analyze how informational text structures support the author's purpose.
So if we want to know if our students have mastered this standard, we got to pick this apart a little bit. Let's internalize this standard, okay? Tell me what skills you find in this standard, and I'll circle them. What skills are happening here? That's the verbs.
Analyze.
Oh, good, yeah. Okay,
Support.
perfect. All right, so these are things that students will be doing if they've mastered this standard, right? All right, let's underline the key concepts in academic vocabulary.
Informational text structures.
Great, okay, so that's a key concept, probably also academic vocabulary. What's another one?
Author's purpose.
Excellent. All right, if students are mastering this standard, they gotta know and do these things, right? But I think we might need to break those apart a little bit more. So tell me, what are some of the things we can write in the know column? What do we know students will know if they master that?
What the informational text structures are.
What informational text structures are. Okay, I'm gonna write while you guys help me fill in this chart, but I'm gonna have you pass the mic around.
How text structures signal information to the reader.
Wait, was how those structures signal information to reader?
Yes.
Okay, all right, yeah.
How to determine an author's purpose.
How to determine author's purpose, all right. Is there another one?
Yeah, I got one more. Why authors use informational text structures.
Oh, okay, all right. So those are the things that students have to know. What about do? What are they, if they've mastered this standard, what are they doing?
They can identify specific informational text.
Specific informational text.
Yeah.
Or informational text structures?
Yeah.
Just informational text.
Structures within.
Oh, the
it.
structures, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Good. Is there another one?
Yeah, they'll also be able to identify the author's purpose in the text. So what were they trying to say with this text?
Is that it?
No, I got one more.
Oh, okay.
Explain how informational text structure is connected to and supports the author's purpose.
Oh, that's a big one. Did you say connects to and what else?
Supports the author's purpose.
To and supports. Okay.
It is a lot. This is a big, hard standard, yeah? If we hadn't pulled it apart like that, I think I would have thought it was really simple because it's really short, right? But that's a lot that students have to do if they're mastering this standard. Okay, so we also have a task. It's there on your note catcher. This task is in StudySync, and if students are accomplishing this task, they're going to be practicing this standard. So what I want you to do is look at, there's another page in your packet that has a student exemplar. I pulled it out of StudySync. There's a student exemplar of a student writing a response to this and really kicking it out of the park. I know we don't really kick things out of the park, but the student really kicked it out of the park, showing mastery of this standard in their answer to this task. So just take a minute and look at that student exemplar and think about what it means, what it looks like when students have mastered that. Then we're going to look at our actual data. And I think I still have to hand that to you. So take one of these and pass it around. You'll see your student data on a colorful little piece of paper. You brought your electronic form. Okay, so you have your data. I want you to notice that there's lots of standards across the top of that page, right? Which one are we looking at? 12.3R6, right? So find that column. And we're just looking at that column today. Tell me what you notice.
Probably half of our kids are in the red.
Okay, so let's break that down into mastered and not mastered. How many have mastered and how many have not mastered? Count that up and let's talk about that.
4 mastered.
4 mastered. All right, so it looks like clearly a majority of our students have not mastered the standard. So let's zoom in a little bit. Let's find out more about their non-mastery. I don't think it's enough to just say they haven't mastered it. Let's examine it a little bit. So as you've been doing this, working on this standard with your students, what are some of the things that you've noticed them doing?
When I was giving feedback to students on this assignment, I was repeatedly having to remind them to show me their text evidence and their explanations.
I saw in a recent exit ticket that my students were consistently misidentifying the author's purpose.
I was looking through my Study Sync gradebook and noticed that students were consistently confusing text structures, specifically cause and effect, and then problem and solution.
So we put a lot of things on our no-do chart, and it looks like there's a lot of places where kids are mixing things up, right? Okay, so here's what we ought to do next. We have some anecdotal data that you just shared, the things you're seeing. What I'd like you to do now is pair up with each other and look at each other's Study Sync gradebook, and let's find those things that you just talked about in the actual data. So go ahead and pull up your Study Sync data and start talking about what do you see, what trends do you notice?